Okay, so what do you know about the Spanish influenza from 1918?
I do know that many people died that year. It started at Great Lakes, and Waukegan was affected shortly afterwards, after the Great Lakes recruits started dying. And it became quite an epidemic in Waukegan. Schools were eventually closed, theaters were closed, and it was 1918 in September, that was the worst period. 1918 September and some of October, that was when it was at the highest.
Do you feel that Waukegan responded in a good way?
I think they did. Maybe in the beginning they didn't realize how serious it was, but eventually they could see that many people in the family, it would affect the entire family. Entire families died, and they could see that, and that's when they started closing theaters and schools.
Mm-hmm. According to the Oakwood Cemetery document that you gave us, it was in 1919 that the death toll was 183. Do you think that if an epidemic like that were to happen again, Waukegan would have less deaths?
I think so. I think we're more prepared, but it depends on the virus.
Yeah, that's true. So on the phone, you had told us about the man that you knew a little bit more specifically.
Perry Harris. His father was a Civil War veteran, and Perry Harris was in his 20s, I believe, and had died from flu. And he wasn't the only one. Many families were affected by it. And like I said, in some cases where one family member got it, the entire family died, or most of the family.
With the sources that the Historical Society has, we see that the newspapers specify all the deaths. Do you think that if an epidemic like that were to occur again, there would be as much reputation for it? Would Waukegan care, or would it make notice of those dying?
I think they would. I think they would, because when anything occurs, they do cover it. And so I do think they would.
Okay. So to end the interview off, last question would be just as a summary. Do you think that Spanish influenza was overcome okay, or could Waukegan have done something better to lower the deaths, or to lower the just the death toll? Because in one of the newspapers that the Historical Society has, it records the days, and somebody's commentary on it says that in the beginning Waukegan sort of played it off, or they took it not as seriously in the beginning, but once they started seeing deaths, that's when they got worried about it.
That's true. That is exactly what happened. In the beginning, they didn't. They thought it would be somewhere else. But Waukegan wasn't the only one that was affected. This was a worldwide epidemic. We had some men from Waukegan who served in the war, because that was the time of World War I. And one of them is a relative of Ray Bradbury, and he was on a ship and was going, and he only made it, he got the flu aboard, and he died when he got to France, and he didn't even really make it to the battlefield. So that did happen.
Okay, another question just came to mind, so hopefully this is the last one. But you said that it was worldwide. In one of the articles also that we read, it says that actually here on this like property, it used to be the Bowen Country Club, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And it says that they opened up a hospital because the local hospitals in Waukegan and North Chicago, everywhere, were full, so they needed to open an emergency hospital to house other patients. Do you think that medically or like socially Waukegan has improved to the point where now if that were to happen we wouldn't need that, or would we take drastic
I would hope
actions?
that we would have. And what you're referring to is below the hill here in Bowen Park. It's called Rosenwald Cottage. And in Rosenwald Cottage, it was used during that time for that purpose as a hospital. We do have Vista East and Vista West, so I do think that we would be more than adequately prepared for a hospital, but it depends on how serious it was and how contagious it was. If we, if we had it again.
Okay, well, that concludes our interview. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Good luck.